Today, we're going to peel back the curtain on the invisible forces that dictate, well, pretty much everything, from the price of your coffee to the headlines you see on the news.
So, what do these things have in common? On the surface, it seems like a totally random list, right? A piece of tech in your pocket, the number you see at the gas station, and some conflict happening halfway around the world. But believe it or not, there's a powerful, invisible thread connecting all of them.
And that thread? It's called geopolitics. And once you get a handle on it, you'll start to see the hidden logic behind global events. And you'll see how they connect directly back to you. So let's dive in. Probably the best way to think about geopolitics is to imagine the entire world as one giant chessboard. Every country is a player, and they're all making strategic moves to try and gain an advantage. So what's the official definition? Well, at its core, geopolitics is the study of how physical space, the very land and sea of our planet, shapes the destiny of nations. It's so much more than just maps. It's about what those maps mean for power. You know, this quote just nails it. Geography sets the rules of the game. It dictates who has the resources, who controls the major trade routes, and who is easy or, well, really hard to invade. Everything else is just the drama that unfolds on that stage. So, why do nations make the moves they do on this chessboard? It isn't about friendship or feelings. It almost always boils down to one thing: protecting and advancing their own national interest. That means securing their economy, their security, and their influence in the world. Now, to pursue that national interest, countries need to exert influence. They need power. And as it turns out, power comes in a few distinct flavors. We can basically break it down into three main types. First, you've got the most direct form, military power. Then there's economic power, which is all about using money as a tool. And finally, there's something a little more subtle, known as soft power. Let's look at how these work in the real world. Military power is the most obvious form of hard power. We're talking tanks and aircraft carriers. Economic power is all about using money as a carrot or stick. You can offer a great trade deal, or you can impose sanctions that cripple another country's economy. And then there's soft power, which is the ability to make others want what you want. Think about the global influence of Hollywood films, or the prestige a country gets by hosting major international events. The most powerful nations, they're masters at blending all three. But none of that power exists in a vacuum. It's all tied back to the geo in geopolitics. Let's dig into why the physical Earth is still the most important factor of all. Power often starts with what's literally in the ground. If you control energy sources like oil and gas, you can hold the world hostage. Access to fresh water is already becoming a huge point of conflict. And our modern technology, from your phone to advanced military hardware, depends on strategic minerals and rare earth elements that are only found in a few places on Earth. So just where these resources are located creates an immediate hierarchy of power. But having resources is only half the battle. If you can't get them to market, or if you can't get the goods you need from other countries, you're totally isolated. And that brings us to the highways of our planet, the oceans. Just think about that number for a second. 90%. The vast majority of everything we buy, sell, and use travels on a ship. This is exactly why controlling sea lanes, straits, and canals is one of the most critical geopolitical goals for any major power. It's simple, really. If you control the sea, you control the global economy. Okay, so we have the board, the players, and the rules. Now, let's apply this framework to the real world and look at how the biggest geopolitical game of the 21st century is being played right now. The competition between the United States and China is a perfect example of these principles in action. The U.S. traditionally projects its power through a global network of military alliances, like NATO, which ensures its presence across the world's oceans. China, on the other hand, is playing a different game. It projects its power primarily through economic influence, building this massive web of trade and infrastructure projects that span continents. So you have two superpowers with two very different strategies for winning the game. And here's the thing. The chessboard itself is changing. The great game is no longer just being played on land and sea. Today's battlegrounds are digital and, yeah, even extraterrestrial. Gaining an edge in cyber warfare, achieving dominance in artificial intelligence, managing the global fallout from climate change, and even controlling assets in space, these are the new frontiers of geopolitical competition. And this leads us to the crucial question of our time. As technology creates these entirely new battlegrounds, does the old logic of geography still apply?
Does a warm water port matter as much when a conflict can be won with a single line of code? That is the new great game.